Hello, 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 hello. Blessed Sabbath. Good afternoon. How are you, Brother Roland? Um, I hope everybody's good. I know I'm a second or two behind, but that's okay. Today won't be too long. Message is simple. Yeah, I like the chef hats. I got some more. How are you, Sister Aja? Shalom, everybody. Blessed Sabbath. Hope you guys are ready. It's not going to be that long or very detailed. How many people here? There are about three, and um, they're two here, and it's good. I think I have interesting things to share today. Hope everyone is good. Um, oh wow, neighbor got neighbor got robbed at gunpoint. Wow. Um, If you have a question to ask me, you can email me. Hey, Mark, give this person my email that just asked. I don't do a whole bunch of political conversating on this. This isn't what we do with this particular time. My email and information's all over the place. It's pretty easy to contact me. If people choose not to, it's a choice. But I don't do Q&A. I don't do that on in this particular format. Yes, it's all right. You can email me. My email is DrRandyShort. I write people back typically. I mean, for the most part, I do. So um, we're going to go brief. Won't be that long today. I am looking forward to getting back in. Um, In fact, moderators just put my email up. If people have a question to ask me, they can do that through email. They can write me. I write people back. We have a whole week in which people can write or ask you a question. Uh, so sorry about your neighbor. Um, and Smith put my email up just in case, if you can. Um, and it's all right if we just have a few people here. This is actually cool. Um, I hope everybody is doing okay, and I certainly hope that that people are doing well. It's been a very very challenging few weeks here with the weather and health things and all. But definitely, I want everybody to just be, as the message for today is, be content and be ready. That's the most important thing I can do is just share that with you. Um, uh, hmm, um, mm, I'm sorry to hear that, Smith. I'm sorry to hear that. Um, and let me try this one other way. I'm gonna try one other thing, and then we'll start in a second. Uh, give give it one more second. Yes, thank you, Brother Mark. And I'm going to try to go into one more platform, and let's see if we can pop through this real fast. Okay, we're up to 21 over here. All right, 4 here, 21 here. All right, let me just go ahead and get this thing started. First and foremost, thanks everybody that's listening. Uh, I'm reading from Matthew 6, Luke 12, and Romans 2. And the theme for today is message to Black Americans: be be content and be ready. God, we thank you for this Sabbath. We thank you for this first day of February, also known as Black History Month. Thank you for all the people who are able to listen today. Thank you for my cousin Statia's birthday today, my cousin Lottie's birthday tomorrow, my grandmother's passing 21 years ago today, my birthday coming on the 9th of February, my friends, several friends born on the 5th, the 6th, 7th, and 8th of February, and all. I thank you for all the birthdays. Pray God that you bless Brother Mark and Sister Asha, protect the people in California from these fires, whether they're being set by people or any of that. We just pray that you just help them. Help our Sister Michelle, who's dealing with this cold that's gone around. Pray that you help people, protect people's health, encourage people to use whatever's necessary to improve their health. Help those people that are dealing with deaths and departures, people that are mourning, people that are worried about their employment in the federal government, families that have lost persons in accidents, airplane, automobile, just a lot. Pray for peace and pray for awareness. Help Brother Stephen uh, from Cincinnati. Um, Comfort all the people that are dealing. Um, Ashira and her father and mother, and just all of our people. Again, Brother Smith and Mrs. Smith, Miss Smith in California, all the people that are dealing with environmental challenges, inclement weather. We just pray that you bless and protect them, and that what's shared today makes a difference. This we ask in your name. Amen. And today is real simple. I first and foremost want to say to you, please pardon me for the last two Sabbaths. I had concurrent, consecutive health challenges on both Sabbaths, twice. And that's why we weren't here. It's not that we're inconsistent. I just couldn't get a break. So my mother, who's 82, was incredibly ill, had to be hospitalized for a few days. She's back home. There's good news is that she's back home. There's challenging news that there are new medical concerns. So, when you pray, pray for my mother and I. And all I can tell you is, people, when I share with you the confirmation hearings for Robert Kennedy Jr., who is not a saint. He isn't perfect, but he isn't wrong about the excesses of the medical people. I mean, these people Um, I cannot begin to tell you how terrible the medical establishment is in America. How many people are harmed, poisoned, misdiagnosed, overdosed, experimented on, lied to. It's horrific. And I mentioned in past, there's a book by Hoffman, Hoffman. It talks about the Negro, but you had a eugenicist from Germany named Hoffman that came to the United States and recommended, since we're going to do some Black history, um, that that healthcare be unequal and that healthcare deliberately not help blacks, that black people be denied healthcare so we would die off. It's not just his recommendation, but it is the more or less the policy prerogative in America that we not get fair or equal health care in the hopes that we diminish in numbers. I repeat, and I have the book somewhere. It may be close at hand, it may be somewhere else, but Hoffman is his name. You can look it up. I think it's called Statistical Something, Something, Something of the American Negro. Hoffman, look it up for yourself. Don't trust me. This isn't like some regular church where you're like automatons or you just listen to what and you take everything. Don't believe what I'm saying. Take notes. Go look it up. You'll find it for yourself. I'd love for you to do that. And if you did, you would be helped tremendously because what ends up happening is that you will find out I have no desire to lie to anyone, to manipulate anyone, to cause someone to not like anyone. I don't have any desire to get you to hate. I do want you to think. I do want you to uh, I do want you to do that, and I all I want you to do is to read for yourself. That way, you'll know, right? You'll know what's best for yourself. You'll know the information, and I'm saying that, saying to you that within the last few days. I spent a lot of time in the emergency room within the last few months over and going to the doctor over something that doctors never told me that they could have told me. I asked questions. I don't think I'm stupid. I really think I'm an educated patient that tries to know what's going on. And instead, people are trying to sell me another painful operation. If you can imagine, can you imagine that? I go in to see the emergency room to talk to because there's a medical concern. And instead of people doing a thorough investigation of what my health status is, the first thing is to recommend to me that I need another surgery. And I want you to understand that that is incredible that that happened instead of them doing thorough work. Give me one more second. I'm going to start. I just want to see something. Um, just a moment. So I'm back. I didn't leave you. Um, so I'm back. I didn't leave you. Um, and and I want one more second to say to you that even my grandmother, who died today 21 years ago, was in a medical facility, and no one knew she had cancer. She died died of ovarian cancer while receiving medical care, which means that they didn't even bother to find out. You have someone right there. They didn't do tests. You don't know anything. You're right there. I mean, they're seeing you, checking your blood and doing all this stuff, and nobody saw cancer, which means my grandmother, that comes from a family where people lived as long as 120 years, wasn't uncommon for people to live to be 100, 115, 120. And my grandmother died at 93 from cancer while being in a place full of doctors and people that could have looked. And so this confirmation hearing for Robert Kennedy, whether you like him or not, uh, you should hope that truth comes out and hope that we get. Robert Kennedy has been honest that a lot of the medications and things that are made have a bias against Black Americans. He's been honest, and the main people that are attacking him, the main people that are attacking Mr. Kennedy right now on the Senate confirmation group are persons who are have received, many of them, millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical corporations. And Elizabeth Warren in particular, yelling, screaming, rudeness, and I forgive me for taking this instead of going right into what I wanted to share with you sermonically, but just um, follow the money that people are paid by these large companies, and all kinds of things happen. My adopted uncle died as a result of Vioxx, destroyed his heart. They know sometimes that these things do not work, and they do not, they market it anyway. And if they can beat off or avoid lawsuits, whatever, they will continue to sell and market things that hurt people. Uh, I am hoping that the most recent friend of mine that I learned about, that died on the 21st of last month at the age of 49, I'm hoping, but then again, I don't know, but he should have lived longer, at least to 50. We now have people dying at very young ages. A lot of them look like you and I. And even when they can afford medical care, they're not being treated well. This is wrong. This is murder. This is genocide. This is wicked. And it's amazing that you have people. You even had a Black woman senator, Angela Ossa Brooks, who is attacking Mr. Kennedy, who, by the way, campaigned, her main campaign platform was abortion. There you go with the unmarried Black woman screaming about abortion. Yet again, people, if you're feeling where I'm coming from. So there's a conspiracy against your health. There's a conspiracy against us as a collective. If you don't learn anything in Black History Month and throughout the year, I mean, it can be every day, it is that you have a unique history. This country has a very, 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 very negative history towards us. It won't change, but we need to change ourselves. And so I'm going to segue in. I want to let you guys know. Let me see. Mm, hmm. Let me see if I can do this. Okay. Um, I'm looking at this and I may find out. I'm going to find out in 1 second if I can get into StreamYard. And if not, we'll just go ahead. I just need 1 more second. And pardon me for, but I hope you don't mind me talking about this. But if nothing else, what people need to be cognizant of, there was another month prior to there was Black History Week, and then it became Black History Month. But almost at the same time that you had the development of Black History Week, you had Negro Health Week. And let me pull that up and mention that to you. Um, it's topical because a lot of people are sick. We're in the middle of a quademic. Uh, you may not be aware, but there are four very deadly viruses, and I know I had maybe one or two of them. Actually, Negro Health Week started in 1915, and it lasted until 1951. National Negro Health Week began in 1915 in response to disturbing findings by the Tuskegee Institute that highlighted the poor health status of African Americans in the early part of the 20th century. At a session of the Tuskegee Negro Conference in 1914, the founder of the Tuskegee Institute, Booker T. Washington, brought forth data which showed the economic cost of the poor health status of the Black population of the United States. Are y'all hearing me? And and what I want to say to you, let me say some more. The United States Public Health Service then instituted the National Negro Health Week in response to these findings in order to improve the health status of the Black population by educating members of the community, providing greater access to health care, and encouraging an increased number of Black professionals in the field of public health. National Negro Health Week was observed during the first week of April and focused on the educating of Black communities throughout America on the methods of acquiring health care and informing students on proper health practices. The creation of the Negro Health Week, National Negro Health Week, resulted in the formation of the National Negro Health Movement, which helped form which formed to improve the status of the health of Black America year round, like our history needs to be. Organizations that participated in this movement included the annual Tuskegee Negro Conference, the National Medical Association, the National Business League, and the National Negro Insurance Association. The movement, in collaboration with the United States Public Health Service, published the National Negro Health News Quarterly. The publication focused on planning for the annual National Negro Health Week activities, as well as reporting on new data and reports related to the status of Black health. I'll stop here, but I will happily share this link with Mrs. Kelly. And if you want this is from the National Archives. It's not hard to find these things, but you need to know there used to be a national effort to uh, help turn around Black health. And then uh, around the same time that the civil rights movement heated up, all of a sudden, people weren't concerned about doing anything about Black health. Read between the lines. Don't blame me for the history. But that's a Black History Month factoid for you. That's a Black History Month factoid for you. They stopped the United States government as well as the Boule and all those people and Booker T. Washington's influence. And the effort went away from Black people's health to let's go to other people's hospitals. Other people should solve our health problems. We need other people to spend money. Not that there's nothing wrong with the money, but let us look to the very people who have led to these disparities to suddenly solve the problem for us that only we can do for ourselves. When I talk about God, we need to be delivered from the demons of forced assimilation, demons of Black self-hatred, demons of slave mindedness, demons that cause us to think that it's another group of people that allegedly have oppressed, enslaved, and segregated us are going to suddenly just have an epiphany and start doing all kinds of things that they haven't done for hundreds of years, not even for self. Somebody say amen. So I want to get right into this. Before health emergencies interrupted this series, which is called Message to Black Americans. And I'm Dr. Randy Short, if you don't know me. I have a parachurch called SALT, which stands for Salvation and Liberation Temple. One, your soul needs to be saved. And yes, you need to be liberated from poverty, injustice, racism, Black self hatred, Boule oppression, white supremacist oppression, from illegals replacing you. Yeah, you need to be liberated, but you need to have a saved soul. Liberation without a saved, sound, grounded mind would basically mean you'd be no different from the people that put you in the hole that you've been in. And it also will put you in another hole when this life ends. Our ancestors, as I was talking about when I last shared with you, um, came to a saving knowledge of God during the Great Awakenings. These were religious revivals had that occurred in England and the United States. And the United States, basically two people were formed. What you call white Americans became more or less a people who then wanted to break off from England and become the United States of America. There's a direct relationship between the teachings of the preachers who were going around during the Great Awakenings that started in the early, or sorry, the third decade of the 1700s and ran literally into the 1760s, just before, maybe a decade or so before the American Revolution. So you get out of it uh, white nationalism, Anglo American nationalism, and you also have out of the Great Awakening a reacquainting of what you now know as what Black Americans, Negroes, African Americans, whatever people want to call us, the people who are both indigenous American or whatever you want to say, Aboriginal Americans and the Africans and those people of some blended ancestry from Europe that are now called Black Americans. We range in all shades, hair textures, sizes, became a people. Out of the Great Awakening came the Negro spiritual, which is the basis of all American culture, comes out of the great awakening of people from Africa and the Americas and from Europe, seeing themselves as a people called by God, and they began to create music and art, and that is what American culture is. And for all of the Luciferian, satanic, insane black idolaters who want to eliminate the role or the importance of Christianity to Black Americans, aside from them burning in hell and them taking you along with them if you listen to them. I don't care. I mean, in fact, get off this. Get off this. Go, go, go. Your brain is too small. Your brain is too small to be on this. How about that? Okay. Yeah. Speaking of black self hatred and the lack of respect and the lack of decency, um, yes, absolutely. God give us our MFM. Yeah, we don't tolerate that on this platform, not on this particular session. We're trying to be serious. I'm not doing any jokes or anything, just talking about what is and from a spiritual perspective. And so, yeah, that person said, my hat's too small. And I said, his brain is too small. And maybe a lot of other things are small too. That's why you're on this thing. God help you. Um, so, what I'm trying to do with this series and these discussions is to show people the connection because there's this major lie going around. And there's generations of incredibly confused Black American folks. I mean, they're range of things. It's church abuse. Um, your mom was in an alley with a gang of guys. You don't know your father, your mother, if you're a girl, whatever. You know, you're taught from the floor up. It's intergenerations of whatever it is, drug abuse, alcoholism, masonry, Greekism, whatever it is, or Bouleism. And you're all off on stupid tangents that is leading you straight to hell. We weren't always this confused. And that leads me to my topic for today. My topic for today, and I'll go straight into it, is be content and be ready. There's a passage of scripture that says godly contentment is great gain. What it really means is to know God, to be thankful for what you have, to know God, to be in relationship with God, to appreciate life's basic things like just being able to breathe. I know, folks, it's alleged that we've got a lot of asthma in my extended family. If you've ever had an asthma attack, you really appreciate the ability to breathe. You really could, like, not be able to breathe. You really could get choked out by your own body, can choke you out. If you've ever experienced it, which I have, it's quite scary to not be able to breathe. The fact that we're able to respire, we should be thankful to God because it really doesn't have to go that way. And I will say another Black History Month factoid is Black children die disproportionately from asthma. And a lot of that comes from we're particularly sensitive to the crystalline decomposition of roaches, roach dander, for the little sloppy moms that don't clean the house and folks don't deal. You think roaches are, you know, like a dog or a cat. You're literally putting your children at risk of a premature death. Roaches kill. Godly contentment is great gain, to be thankful, you know, to be thankful for who you are, what you look like. And Black Americans have a major problem with not being content. There are good reasons why we're not content, and there are bad reasons. The good reasons is if you know you're not being treated well and there's more to be desired, there's nothing wrong with that. But then there's the other excessive side where you need to go to a party and rent a booth for $1,000 and drink Cristal, and your kids can't read or write or compute. And you wish you had more money to spend like that, or you do $2,000 worth of hair care a month, but you're struggling to pay a mortgage, or you don't have insurance of any kind. Godly contentment allows you to balance. Godly contentment means if you've been with someone 20, 30 years married, you don't wake up one day and decide, I just don't want to be married to this person. It's the marriage got to end. That's a shout out to you black women that have the highest rate of divorce in this country. It's insane. Folks just leaving marriages, destroying families because they're not happy anymore. And thinking that at 60 or 62, they put on tight enough clothes that they can compete with the younger women and then want to get back with the man they cast off. Or people who can't find enough people to sleep with, or there's not enough drugs or alcohol, there's just nothing, not enough cars, not enough shoes. That speaks to an emptiness, a lack of God. That speaks to people's disconnectedness from God Almighty within us and within humanity in general, but specifically, I'm going to deal with us who, if you've ever had to go and help a family that was being evicted and they had a house full of brand new toys. I mean, just stuffed animals. Like they must have gone to everything, but they're not paying their rent. And therefore, their children are tossed into the streets. I mean, you want the kids to be happy, but I think they'd be happier with more time with you and shelter and decent food than for you to have a house full of toys and all and then be out. If you've ever seen people sat out and they have all these nice things, they bought all of this stuff, have the nicest television set, but they didn't have their eyes focused on the basics. Godly contentment is great gain. Ancestors, other people, other generations were able, even 10, 20 in a household, to live together and amass money like other people do and buy and own property versus people who couldn't be content to share any kind of space with anyone and therefore can't afford the apartment that they're in, aren't qualified for a home loan, even though there's discriminatory lending, and would never live with, there's no one that they can get along with, and yet despise and look down on the people in another group that are 20 in a house who are pooling their money, who end up buying you out of the house or the apartment that you're in. And you don't see the injustice as your lack of contentment, your inability to care or to work with someone else, your godlessness contributes to your oppression, to your poverty, to your misery, as you're not being in touch and in tune with God to be thankful for what He blessed you with and for. People who don't like their children aren't content with the children that they've been blessed with without learning that they've done studies that Black children are uniquely gifted. We abort them or we abandon them. We beat them. We let them go into the child and family services in greater proportions than probably any other people other than Mongoloid Native Americans. Um, you don't like the men in your group, and yet everybody else is chasing the men in your group, even men in other groups. Or you don't like the women in your group, you're not happy, the person not tall enough, they need to get a BBL, or you're not happy if they don't have a meter long behind, you don't see them as a human being. Or she thinks if she doesn't have a picture perfect bottom, she has no value as a woman. Godly contentment is great gain. The failure, the inability to feel good that you live in America. You hate everything about America. America's hell. All this bitching, whining, and nagging, and stupid talk from people who've never traveled outside the city or the neighborhood that they're in, have never been able to have a perspective of why people are suffocating being packed into coyote cars and trucks to come into this country, because it's so much worse. Other places, yes, racism and injustice, all of that exists. It's terrible, it's atrocious. But someone else would be very content to be in your shoes. You don't like the shoes, but never imagine not having shoes at all. That is a problem. Don't want to be American, but in reality, that's what you'll be anywhere else in the world. Not happy. Well, people in my family were slaves. Slavery's been universal. Whole people. Slovenia means the land of slaves. There's a land full of white people and everybody's a slave in it. But if you don't have the ability to thank God for, hey, may not be perfect, but there are no manacles on my hands, I've not been branded, our lack of contentment, our families are more busted up now than when folks were selling kids away. When Master was taking kids, at least you wanted the kid. Now we abort them or we kill them. We're not content. That is a sign of not being connected to the Most High God. That's something that we must learn to do. We need to be very thankful. The most important thing that we can do when we're in a country that looks like it's going into a trade war with its three largest trade partners, China, Mexico, and Canada, we might end up being grateful for $3 eggs because they could be $10 and $12 eggs. I'm not saying that that's right. Beef, which red meat isn't good for you to eat anyway, might not have it. There's certain countries where you go in the stores, they don't have anything. I've been in the stores in Cuba, there's nothing to buy. I'm not criticizing Cubans. I understand Cuba's been harassed by the United States, but in real time, the average Cuban walking up and down the street would freak out in an American grocery store, even if the food has been genetically modified. They don't even have that option. Being grateful, being thankful, being content is very important. I'm going to get right into this. I'm going to go right to this scripture. Everybody get with me. And if I don't have it, this one, Matthew 7. Okay, I'm going to go to Luke 12. If you would turn to Luke 12 in the Gospels. We have a story right here. It's in Luke 12. I'm at Luke 12 and 13, and it reads, "And one of the company said unto him, Master, speak to my brother that he divides the inheritance with me. And he," this is Jesus responding, "he said unto him, Man, who made me a judge or divider over you? And he said unto them, take heed and beware of covetousness. For man's life, listen to this, consisteth not in the abundance of the things which he possesses. Okay, I'll go back again and I'll try to do it more basic English because possesseth. Ugh, that's the word that they used. Take heed, beware of covetousness, wanting what somebody else has. It's a big problem. Sister Asha just sent me a message that a neighbor got robbed at gunpoint. They took his phone with all of his bank information at gunpoint and came to his house, and imagine he could have been killed. Earlier, yesterday, I was in touch with a friend of mine in Malawi. They're having a funeral today for one of his cousins who was shot dead by three men in South Africa. They wanted to rob him. He didn't want to give up his money. They killed him. In South Africa, back in the mother country where everything is perfect, says the liar Pan Africanist. In South Africa, the people who are indigenous to South Africa do not like foreign, non South African natives, in particular, black ones in their country. They rob, kill, beat. Anything can happen to you because they don't want you there. The next time someone tells you, and you need to tell this to all the foreign black people here, um, black Americans, with all of our flaws and faults, don't systematically target other people for violence or retribution because they're not the same thing as us in America. People who carry on like they do here, who need to learn some contentment, you need to thank God you're in America, foreign black folks. Because in other countries, if you carried on and you did and you mouthed off against the native population, they're not kind. They really will kill you or burn your house down or whatever, which is wrong. It's evil, it's sinful, but they demand and command respect. You are blessed to be in America where you can mouth off and talk trash and get opportunities that you did not fight for. You have no concern about who got them as long as you get them. When the 14th Amendment has nothing to do with you, the civil rights movement you did not help or participate in, you did not build this country, and you are benefiting at the expense of people you look down on. Try that in another country. I'll wait. You need to thank God for Black History Month, for the crooked liar Nigerian politicians in America who are the kind that come out and speak against Black History Month, and yet everything they get comes off of the history made by Blacks in this country. You need some contentment and stop coveting what we've acquired, and we don't even have our share. We don't have our MFM. We haven't been repaired. We do not have reparations, and we're owed. The Bible says, you know, if you don't work, you don't eat. But if you work, you should be eating. You should get paid. Muscle not the ox that tramps out the grain. The thing that's making the money is supposed to get, says God's word. And the lack of contentment among white people who do not like themselves, who don't like their skin tones, don't like their lips, mock you. It's coveting, it's their lack of satisfaction. Contentment only comes with knowing God, having a relationship with God. It is not what you own that makes you. What makes you is your character, your relationship with God, your relationships with your family, how you get along. These things are very important. Not to dismiss wealth. It's important. It says money answereth all things. Money is a problem solver. It can be a solution. You need gas, you can buy it. You need food, you can buy it. You need insurance, you can buy it. You need a lawyer, you can buy it. You need shoes, you can buy it. Yes, you need mediums of exchange to live in a world, in this world in which we live. But money isn't greater. And money does not in and of itself give contentment. Diddy is miserable. I've never met super wealthy people that were completely happy no matter how much money they had, because money in and of itself, it won't make love to you, although it may get people that act like they want to make love to you, or they can fall in love with the money that you have, but they don't love you. Back to our scripture. So we shouldn't be obsessing on what other people have, wanting it. And it says your life doesn't consist of the things that you have. It's a lie that money can give you everything, or things can give you everything, or multiple bed partners, or jewelry, or whatever. It does not. We have a soul that has to be fed. Let me say this to you. Going on, to underscore his point, when the Messiah, Jesus, Yeshua, Hamashiach, whatever, was speaking to this guy who wants, and he's probably the younger brother, and in many cultures, you have what's called primogeniture. The oldest child, male, gets all the money or gets most of the things. This younger son is envious and jealous of his brother and wants Jesus to get in the middle of a cultural thing, which should be between those two. And in another way, he's saying to him, getting his stuff isn't going to make you happy, but this person's imagining, if I had as much or I got what my brother had, I'd be happy. It ain't so, people. It's not so. Very wealthy people on psychotropic drugs and antipsychotics and antidepressants. So Jesus gives a story at 15. No, it's 16. And he spake a parable unto them, saying, the ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentifully. Okay? We know that all the wealth and riches come from the earth. There was a guy who was paid. He was rich, a certain rich man. This rich man had good land that just, he was doing great. He had more money than he could stand. What does this man do at 17? He thought within himself, saying, what shall I do? Because I have no room where to bestow my fruits. I've got so much. I don't even know what to do. I can't even take in all that I've got. It's like Elon Musk. I have more money than I can imagine. I don't know what to do with my time because I have so much. At 19, he reads out and says, and I will say to my soul, and listen to this. The man's a narcissist. He's talking to himself. You've got all this money, you don't know what to do, and you're in relationship in your own bubble with me, I, me. Soul, and I will say to my soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thine ease. Just chill. Do whatever you want. Or as Aleister Crowley says, do what thou wilt. Whatever you want to do. Have a freak off. Spend money. Blow it. Take thine ease. Don't worry. Don't care. Don't think about anyone else. Just do you. Eat, drink, and be merry. Party. But God said unto him, thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then who shall these things be which thou hast provided. In more plain English, dummy, you've hoarded all of this stuff for just yourself that you thought you're going to be able to spend all on yourself. And you're going to die like tonight. Now who's going to get it? None of us. None of us. Not even every now and then you'll see stories of people who are going back to the South, black, and buying the big house that the slave owners, the white masters who own their families, they're buying the houses that belong to the people that enslaved their families. You see, the people that brutalized and enslaved and extracted out of their families, they couldn't take that house with the Georgian house with the big columns. They can't take that to heaven. They can't take the acres to heaven. They can't take the resources to heaven. You can't drive the hearse with a U-Haul behind it to the graveyard or to heaven. What we have when we die, we leave it here. I'm in my dad's library. My dad couldn't take off his theology books with him. One of the most poignant points of recognizing that my father was dead was having to throw away some of the old rusted tools. My dad loved his tools, and the things were old, and I had to throw them away. It really sunk in. God, not that I know he's dead or something, but his things, some of them, we had to throw away, and we haven't finished throwing away the effects. Things don't last forever. Things don't provide you salvation. They can't go anywhere. You can't take your car scuba diving any more than you can take your car into heaven. You need to learn how to know God and have a relationship with God and be content that you can pray to the creator of the universe and you can take care of, like it says, taking care of things one day at a time as you live. In real time, to live daily, to live daily, to learn how to be happy with the day. The prayer, the Lord's Prayer, give us our daily bread. Give us the stuff that we need right here and now to get through the day. Even a junkie knows that they need a certain amount of a fix to be high enough to get through life. A wino. I mean, around things that are evil, people know what they need or just about to get through the day. Spiritually, we need to understand that we need a relationship and need to have the kind of peace of mind that only comes from God to deal with life as its challenges are. It says in 21, this is Jesus' summation of his parable. So he that layeth up treasure for himself, Jesus is emphasizing the man is selfish. Think about it. He never thought about, I'm going to get this for my wife. Certain rich man, maybe he was single with a huge amount of money, not even children. Nobody gets the thing. It's just me. Maybe he was metrosexual and all this popular dumb stuff that Trump is beginning to march, cut down a little bit. I mean, God, it's been nuts since Obama was president. This person that was all about himself. All these people tatted up, rings everywhere. Everything's pierced. Genitalia pierced, clitoris pierced, prepuce of the penis pierced, ears pierced, nose pierced, lips pierced, butts pierced. All of this, it means nothing. What does he say? He that layeth up treasure for himself is not rich towards God. And Those that lavish everything on themselves as individualists that don't need nobody, don't care about nobody. Elon Musk, Zuckerberg, billionaires, Oprah Winfrey, all of them. It says they're not rich towards God. They don't love God. They're enemies of God. Godly people are happy. They can handle whatever. Nothing wrong with money. Nothing wrong with nice things. I've not criticized wealth. But being stingy, being selfish, a society that is rich enough to provide genuine health care for its citizens, for its veterans, for its children, that has bombs for Ukraine and bombs for Israel and weapons and all of this, but can't do basic things. Treat school lunch like it's a luxury. We have the worst school lunches in the world. Awful food, waste food for the children, right? And yet these stunted children with this lunch, in fact, they've got to have transsexual bathrooms or they can't eat under the Biden administration, people. Hmm. Would begrudge food to the children that you want to serve in your military because they're going to come from the poor. Rich people don't need to serve. And yet you send food aid to other countries in order to destroy their agricultural development to help big farming corporations that make unhealthy genetically modified food that contributes to diabetes and cardiovascular problems. They're not rich to God. United Healthcare, you know, I'll just be honest with you. I just learned, I had a biopsy. I didn't know there were any side effects. No one told me. And I'm like bleeding. Uh, and these people want to sell me hemorrhoid surgery, which will hurt and you'll be in pain. I'm thinking, God, why these people got to be in my behind? I don't want anybody in my behind. And I just wipe it and keep moving, right? And the healthcare people didn't even tell me that if they give you a biopsy, it can cause bleeding. I went to the hospital, went to see people didn't even know their own work as doctors, but were going to sell me an operation, and I had the insurance to cover it. But the same greedy insurance people, they would pay for me to get some people to hack out hemorrhoids, but wouldn't give me suppositories. The cheap thing, that United Healthcare thing, that Luigi Mangione, the person who allegedly shot the guy in United Healthcare, that guy's multimillionaire, and he thought he's going to get to spend that money at whoever, somebody shot him. These people who all of a sudden, once he got shot, they took no longer held your medical bills against your credit rating. I don't know. That's a bad sign. What you have to shoot some of these rich people for them to like do right by the masses of us. I'm not suggesting that. Don't go out and hurt anybody. I'm not. Please don't do that. Don't hurt nobody. Please. I'm only saying that the guy got shot and then everybody started doing stuff differently. But the real issue was they had more than enough money. Insurance companies had almost a 260% increase in profits. Their cost only went up 50%, which means for every dollar in services that they had to give out that was more, they got 5.6 or 4.6. They were doing great. I mean, you're making way plenty of money, but you're not rich towards God. How you rich towards God is how you treat other people, how you think about other people. America's greatest sin is its racism, its hatred, its bigotry, its nastiness towards its colonized black population and how it treats people in Latin America and in Africa. Um, when America as an empire declines, and I'm not praying for it because I live here. I don't want to be overrun by Chinese or anybody. It's bad enough with what we got. But when this empire falls, it may be the very people that were messed over that come and conquer here. They may do, excuse me, they may do to the American people what's been done to them. You know, Haiti, love or hate Haitians, whether they ate a dog or a cat. And I love Chinese food. I probably eat more dogs and cats in the whole Haitian community because I love me some Chinese food. I don't know what they put in there. I feel like eating some for my birthday. And if it's a dog or a cat, I'm sorry, Fido. I'm sorry, Morris the cat. But they really know how to fix it. Stir fry with some broccoli. Mm. Whether they eat dogs or cats or not, Haitians have been messed over by America since the 1780s. Almost as long as America has been a nation, the United States has waged war on the people in Haiti. How many of you know when the early republic was broke before they even had roads and canals and schools? They had guns and food and weapons that they were sending to kill black people in Haiti. And those same black people from Haiti came in at a critical point in American history and fought for the freedom of white and black Americans. And their reward was for the United States to support their genocide and then to boycott them from 1804 to 1864 for 60 years, put an embargo and boycott Haiti, helped the French to make the Haitians pay reparations to the French for enslaving them. And the French killed maybe 250,000 Haitian people, murdered by France, Spain, Britain, and American support. 250,000. That's 4 times what America lost in Vietnam with a population of 150 million. Imagine what that did to Haiti. Then America went in and occupied Haiti from 1915 to about 1931. So they're there for 16 years and stole and killed and destroyed. And Haiti, to this day, they're stealing everything from that place. They have oil that they're stealing. They have uridium, which is so valuable. I don't even know the price of it. It's worth more than gold that they're stealing. They steal organs from the children. They export and sell the children to sexual slavery. Some of these people go to remote, this is what I understand, Catholic uh, 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 convents and places for priests for them to do what they want with the kids. Real talk, people. Um, the United States split Haiti from the Dominican Republic to break the country up to make a wannabe white country where they've killed what one period Trujillo killed like 40,000 Haitians in a matter of days. 500,000 Haitians have been stripped of their citizenship by the government of the Dominican Republic with help from the United States. And on and on. That's some black history for you. America's history towards Haiti has been very violent. The American government destroyed their constitutional government when they invaded in 1915. They helped put in Baby Doc and Papa Doc and the Gladia, the people that kill everybody and so forth, and the drug gangs. This is all connected to the CIA. I'm not trying to spend a lot of time on Haiti. I want to say to you that God looks at things like this and at a nation and people, and God isn't pleased. And uh, America has enough land. It's got Alaska. It's got all this other stuff. We need to learn how to be content with what we have versus trying to rip off everybody everywhere else and think that there won't be a consequence, to think that you can mistreat uh, the black population for forever and that there's not going to be a consequence. I beg to differ, and I'm not here trying to tell you to hate nobody. I'm very straight with people. My family is super mixed. I've learned, I mean, I've been shocked. The more research, I'm like, my God, I like the way I look, but if you saw my family tree, you'd be amazed at how I look vis-a-vis what's on that tree. And I like the way I look. I wouldn't change it, but it's like I shake my head, but I don't mind. I'm happy with what I look like. Wouldn't be anything else. Glad I don't look like the other things on the tree. And I'm saying that to say to you, I don't hate them. I don't hate anyone. I don't want you to hate anybody, but I do want you to love yourself, to love your neighbor, to love God, and to be thankful for who and what you are, how you look, your nose, your hair, whatever. And what little bit of clothes you have. You could have been naked. You could be out of your mind. There's a lot to be thankful for. To even have a history. I'm thinking about going to Australia, people, and being around Aborigines. They have a history, but nothing like ours. You go to Brazil, wonderful people. Our history beats the hell out of theirs. Jamaicans, too, to say what they want, our history beats the hell out of practically any people that call themselves black in the world last 300-400 years. In spite of everything, we have something we can be content about, that we did something and we could do a lot more if people weren't standing on our necks and if we weren't standing on our necks. Being rich to God means sharing, helping one another. People were rich to God in Tulsa. They were rich to God in Wilmington. They were rich to God in our old black communities where people helped each other and supported each other and had these Negro business leagues and they had Negro Health Month. They were rich to God because they looked out for one another. Those were successful black people who were concerned about broke ass black people. My God, I wish we were like this now. Our rich 1 in 6 black Americans who have 1.5 or more trillion dollars that comes into their hands that they won't invest to build up people. Everyone's making money. Look at this deviant. Look at this deviant person. Deviant. Ooh, a lot of deviant people. A lot of deviant people. Mm. Like I said, hell will be integrated. A lot of wicked black folks. We got a lot of y'all are just absolute Luciferian trash. If you guys don't repent and turn this mess around, I won't mind you guys burning all this garbage. We need to get our feet off our own necks, get out of our own way. If you couldn't find black thugs to sell dope to black people, wouldn't matter how much they produced in the Golden Triangle or in Afghanistan or in South America, in Peru. Fentanyl wouldn't get into our neighborhood unless some scum that looks like me wasn't willing to push it. AIDS wouldn't move around if folk weren't trying to spread it. We need to repent, need to get right with God, need to clean this mess up. In fact, Black History Month spends way too much time celebrating about who great. We hear about the same damn people year after year. But if we're so great, why are things so jacked up? Why are things that are within our capacity to solve and change, have we not taken it on and done it? And we have this issue of being how can always celebrating. There's always a party. I could see people with strobe lights and strippers and party favors at funerals. If people would they'll get that low, it's coming, and pouring Moet. How long before folks start like twerking at funerals. Find an opportunity to do the most paganistic celebrations of stuff when really we should have our heads down looking at what we could do to turn our situation around as a collective. And by the way, we'll need God's help. Again, people need to be content. They need to be content and rich towards God and decent towards one another. It's very important. It's very important that we do that. I want to also turn you to Matthew 6. I'm almost done. I was going to do something in Romans, but I think I'm going to skip it because I don't know, this coughing is annoying. And I don't want you guys to watch me gag up in here. If you can, turn to Matthew 6. And I'll just run through all of this. There's a second part. In fact, no, I may do the Romans thing. I'm in Matthew 6. I'll just read all of it. I'll highlight the part that I want you to know. Take heed that you do not your alms before men to be seen of them. Otherwise, you have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Part of our lack of contentment as a people is we need folks to praise us. Everyone has to be a celebrity. Everybody's got to be noticed and recognized. Well, what Jesus said of that, for people who need to do all this stuff that need to be praised, even if you put it under religious guise of philanthropy, it doesn't mean anything to God because you did it for people to praise and worship you. We've got this complex where we think folks are supposed to worship and celebrate us. You got whores calling themselves goddesses. You've got studs calling themselves kings. People who don't take care of themselves or each other or the community, that have no real values or characters, that want to be praised. And when they do something, like Diddy and them will do something to be seen, yet you're trafficking and destroying children, but you gave $500,000 or $1 million to rock the vote. That's why they do it. People do philanthropy, whether that's a Zuckerberg or Bill Gates, they give in order to cover their evil. That's why God doesn't care for it. Part of being content is being thankful for who you are. Being content means I can do something for you. I don't need 1,000,000 thanks or 1,000,000 praises. I don't need you to suck on my toes because I did for you what I should have done. The scriptures say, when you know that there's something right to do and you don't do it, it's sin. If I saw you in need, if I saw you needed help, if I saw an injustice, and I didn't even try to help you, I'm bad, says the scripture. It goes on to say, therefore, when thou does thine alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have the glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. A lot of our people like getting praised for what they're supposed to do. Someone gave something. Oprah Winfrey's got billions of dollars buying super expensive stuff and give a few scholarships to someone. That's the least you could do. You're supposed to do it. Money's supposed to be shared. The reason that we are broke as a people is if we do have a business, we only want to pay ourselves or a few people. We don't think about a business where you can employ 100 or 200 or 300, where the real money is. The real money and power, even on the slave plantations, was when you had more than 2 or 3. You need to have about 20 to really be moving. Black business, you just employ yourself. You have one employee. You want all of it for yourself instead of creating a way for maybe 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 other people have an opportunity too. When you're content, you don't mind sharing. You don't have to have it all. It goes on to say, when you do a psalms, let not thy left hand know what your right hand doeth. It doesn't need to be on blast when you do good. I do things, I don't talk about it to people. It's not that important. If I want to help you, I helped you. If I want to do something, if I could, I'd do it. There are a lot of things I wish I could do and I can't. That thy alms be made in secret, and that thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. God blesses the people who bless others who don't need their ego stroked and need to get an award. And in fact, I want to take a second to say you have all of these morally, ethically, programmatically bankrupt black organizations that constantly have award ceremonies. And if you go, they've got awards and plaques all over everywhere. These people don't do anything for anybody. We've got more awards, more shows, more all of this. And these people don't mean anything to us or to anybody. It's all about stroking self, the worship of self. It's most important. It's most important. Your reward comes from God. Hmm? I want to get down to this. I want to skip down, and I'm at 6 and 19. Lay not up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust does corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. We as a people, because we're not content, we waste all of our money. We get it one day, it leaves our community the same day. Not even our churches put their money in black banks, but black banks are the ones that lend them the money to build. It's amazing. Um, if your money isn't in your community because there's no love in your community, you don't care about your community, you don't spend, you don't invest, you don't buy, you don't build schools, you don't do that because you aren't content. You hate God for making you black in America, and you therefore are drugging, whether are self-medicating with things, when in reality, if you had the joy of the Lord, you could be happier. We would be more prosperous, even in a secular sense, even though I'm speaking about spiritually being happy, being off of psychotropic drugs. Our rate of suicide trending down instead of up. Divorces going down instead of up. Us even getting married. Us not eating so much until we've made morbid obesity sexy and body positive to look like you're about to have a cardiac event or episode, right? Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And it says again, our people, no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate one and love the other, or else he will hold to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money. You can't love things and money and all of that and love God. You can't be righteous. You can't be content. You can't be right. Now, let me get to part 2, and I'm about out of here. I'm in Romans 2 because part of this was be content, and the other part is be ready. And what are we ready for? We need to be honest, and I'm going to go back to what I was talking about earlier, and I'm about done, folks. I had a dear friend died January 21st. His name was Johnny Coleman the second. He was 49. And he's not the only person I saw that died recently. We saw what 7 to 9 people died in Philadelphia, 60 plus people died at National Airport that's 7 miles from where I'm sitting. All these people are dying. Everybody is going to die. And no matter what we do, when I saw the doctor the other day, they said, and I don't necessarily agree with them and I don't claim it, your cancer's spreading. And this man's threatening me with my death, and I need to go ahead and make a decision. And I want to let you guys know I feel great. In fact, feel better than I have in years. So I'm going to tell you, I'm claiming, in spite of the fact that cancer kills and that people who live with cancer, that even if the doctor's prediction I've got 5 years or less with it, I'm ready when God calls me. I'm at peace. I don't worry about it. And I'm not going to let anyone stress me out. It's the same way my mother got some interesting medical news. I don't know exactly what it is. I hope it's not bad. We'll find out. But even in that, I'm ready. And I guess she's ready. And we all need to get ready because God is absolutely going to deal with us. We are going to face God at some point, and we need to be ready. You need to be ready the same way that the folks question why would slaves believe in God or and oh they had this white Jesus image. I know this just makes certain people so mad. A friend of mine had his white Jesuses taken out of his uncle's church, and I asked him could he give them to me so I can show I can flaunt because people think I think Jesus Christ is white. But if it upsets a certain type of person, a black Luciferian, if that's what it takes to rattle their cage and they think I think Jesus was white, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say what I think he is. Just stew in that. Yeah, get mad. No, okay. Anyway, oh look at this. Okay. If people are silly, I'm silly too. But I want you to understand something. Um, we're all going to go. Everybody, life and death go together. Okay. It just happens. There's no way around it. And there's something after life. I can say to you, I've had near death experiences. There is something else and you need to be ready for it. And it can hit you at any time. There are people dropping dead, kids dropping dead. I don't know what's causing it. I have my suspicions, and so do some of you. But you need to be ready. You need to be ready because if there is, for all these people that say there's no God and there's nothing to worry about, they they need to open their eyes. Listen to this. I'm at 2 and 5 in Romans. Uh, no, let me just do the whole thing. I'll start at we'll start at 2 and 2. But we are sure that the judgment of God is according to the truth against them who commit such things. We're talking about wickedness. And thinkest thou this, O man, that judgest them which do such things, doest the same, that thou shalt escape the judgment of God. Translation: if God's going to judge and punish people that are wicked and he's going to bust them down, if you're someone that thinks that you are going to be in a position to judge or critique them, or you think of yourself as holier than thou, and you're not right with the Most High, And yet you do the same things as a hypocrite of the people that you look down on. Says that thou shalt escape the judgment of God. You think you're getting away. You think you can talk about what black pathology, or you can talk about DEI or critical race theory, or you can talk about the pathology of the black family. You can talk about all this other mess. And yet the same problems exist amongst you, or black criminality, or black promiscuity, or so forth, whatever it is that you're doing, or the poor, the undeserving poor, and that poor people deserve their poverty, whatever it is you do. If you think doing that, that you won't be held accountable by God, you're delusional. It goes on to say, or despisest thou the riches of his goodness and the forbearance and long suffering, not knowing that the goodness of God leadeth thee to repentance. So either you look down on people, or you have hatred for God. You don't recognize how good God is, how loving God is, how God tolerates and works and endures our worst, not knowing that by God being good to us, he's giving us a chance to make a change, to be ready, to make that change so when your time comes in, you do okay in the judgment. All these folks running around here talking about ma'at. Well, even these people had some concept that you got weighed in the balance somewhere. This isn't unique. There's always been an understanding that there would be judgment, right? It says, but after thy hardness, an impertinent heart treasures up unto thyself wrath against the day of wrath. So it's wrath two times, and the revelation of the righteous judgment of God. When you're not ready, and if you're not trying to like turn things around and be right with God, okay, and you think that because you're hard-headed or you don't want to listen or learn or change or be open to things of God, all you're doing is creating a high interest punishment account for yourself that will come due when you go into judgment. And what does it say? What does it say of the righteous judgment of God, who will render to every man according to his deeds? Then it changes for the people that get it right. To them who by patient continuance in well doing seek for glory and honor and immortality, immortal life. So it says the people that are content and find peace in being with God find immortality, glory, honor, and eternal life. There is a way to live forever. And then it does a conditional modifier, but unto them that are contentious and do not obey the truth, like the stupid people that make dumb comments in these threads. What does it say for the morons, the idiots, the Luciferians, the deviants, the stupid, the numbnuts, the idiots? I mean, I don't know, people with Down syndrome who are functional, who come on here. But to them that are contentious and do not obey the truth, but obey unrighteousness, indignation and wrath, tribulation and anguish upon every soul of man that doeth evil, of the Jew first and also the Gentile. But glory and honor and peace to every man that worketh good, to the Jew first and also to the Gentile. And what is it about God? God is fair. That's why be ready. God's fair. And if you're content, God will be good to you. And if you don't know, God's going to deal with you eventually. It says there's no respect of persons with God. For as many have sinned without law shall also perish without law. As many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified. Knowing what's right to do and doing what's right to do are two different things. If you know what's right and you don't do it, you're screwed. I'm going to stop there and say to you, it's real simple, because the Apostle Paul is talking to people that are in Rome, that are Jews and Romans, but to say to us that you need to be ready, just like the passage in Luke. You don't know when you're going. Uh, I want to repeat, I absolutely, wow, we're coming up in about in the next week coming, it'll be 3 years since I had this crazy heart attack that should have killed me. And between people poisoning me in the hospital, folks wanting to take my organs, to all the things, good 15 to 20 things should have killed me in the last 3 years. I could have been gone at any given time in the last 3 years. And, I'm circumcised. Now they're saying, oh, you've got stage 4 cancer. You won't be able to walk and you should be in pain. And they offered me all these drugs and all. And I don't know, if I was into drugs, maybe I would have taken them. But, you know, I'm not taking anything for it at this point. I want you to understand that, hmm, and they're saying I have stage 4 cancer. I've read all the things in stage 4. Mm, and maybe, I mean, that's what they say, but I feel great. God's goodness, God's grace, God's protection. I've learned to be content. I am going to get treatment. I want you guys to pray for me and pray for my mother. Maybe she has to get treatment as well. Uh, and I believe I will be completely healed. In fact, the most painful thing that's happened to me, worse than a heart attack, was I got this virus that's out here. Please be careful. I couldn't walk for one day. I was in so much pain. I mean, I went into like slave prayer mode. G, 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 G. I mean, it's I couldn't even get Jesus out of the pain. After 4 hours, I think I passed out. When I woke up, all the pain was gone. I can tell you, talk to people who've had this cold. This pain is, I have never, my mother said childbirth didn't hurt her as much as this cold that went around. This thing hurts. But I can tell you again, I have a praise report. I had the pain. It hurt to move, it hurt to cough, it hurt to fart. Everything was extreme, mind numbing pain. But I called for God to come see about me. I'm yours. I'm your child. I can't. I don't know what this is. I can't even move to get to anywhere, you know. And the pain left. And I want to tell you, ever since I did that prayer, I felt better. I can't prove it, but I have a feeling there's a turnaround, even with this cancer situation. I believe it. And I just say to everybody, I'm content. If it is, great. If it isn't, I'm ready. I'll go or I'll stay. I don't think I'm going. And I don't want anybody to leave here unprepared, but I want everybody to be hopeful and optimistic and understand something. If nothing else, we're going to come back and we'll continue. This God thing is real. It's very, 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 very real. I understand now more than ever why, even during slavery, even when these hypocritical, racist, liar, bigots were talking about Jesus and the scripture, how our ancestors saw around the prisoners who weren't about nothing, that are burning in hell, and saw God for themselves. Don't let anything separate you from the love of God or the knowledge of God. And be content and learn how, because the good times, like our economy, things could get really weird. The dollar's going up. What if people stop by? We could have anything happen to the economy. The dollar doesn't really have any value. That's why we have military bases to compel people. Your trust has to be in God and God alone. That's all our ancestors had, and they did real well. If we were closer to God and were content and cared about each other, okay, a lot of stuff would turn around. A lot of stuff would turn around. So I want to say this to you. Um, don't let anybody fool you. Don't let people deceive you with paganism. There's a whole lot. This is a big thing. It's really, really popular. And the scriptures warned us that there would be doctrines of devils and demons. And it's witchcraft on steroids in our community. For all of this talk, for all of their books and studies and knowledge of things that happened thousands of years ago, show me one serious, positive thing on any level in our community that it's impacted. And you'll come up with zero. I'll wait. Uh, it says knowledge puffs up, so people can tell you about stuff hundreds of thousands of years ago. Okay. But they can't tell you where they're going to spend eternity if they got hit by a stroke or heart attack right now. So I'm going to stop here. I went way longer than what I wanted to. I want to encourage everybody. I believe I'll be doing more Angry Black Men. There's so much, but there is a book choice. If you have an Amazon Audible, if you have uh, if you have Amazon Audible, or if you have an Amazon account, or if you just buy books, this is one book, really good book, one really good book by Gilbert King, The Devil in the Grove. If you really want to look at how uh, far we've come, and yet how much farther this is a Pulitzer Prize winning book, but this book talks about the how Florida oranges DeSantis, that bigot governor down in Florida. You want to understand a little bit about Florida and what makes Florida and what black people went through in Florida and why a whole lot of folks pray and had to go to God. Things have been very, 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 very dark. And things in some ways are better. With God, they will be much, much better. There's a promise that if I'll never leave you nor forsake you, we absolutely have been forsaken by everybody, but we have the opportunity to hold on to God's unchanging hand. We should grab it. Don't let anybody deter you. And if all these other ancient esoteric ideas are so wonderful and great, why aren't they working for the people back in Africa and Asia and everywhere else? And why are they fighting over what God blessed us with here? A lot of our people don't know how blessed they are. I'm going to stop here. May the Lord bless and keep you, and may his face shine upon you and give you peace. I pray that we're together. My birthday will be literally after, the 9th of February. So send me a greeting. I always respond to emails from folks that are not off the wall. My email is wrandyshort@gmail.com. wrandyshort@gmail.com. If people like what I do, you can always help us support. You you can Cash App at $ Dr. Randy Short. You can Vimeo Dr. Randy Short. You can what's this thing? Patreon Dr. Randy Short. You can Zelle or PayPal at my email wrandyshort. And I'm hoping now that the weather's warmed up because it was cold, I will try to have a post office box before the month of February is out so we can write each other. And I'm hoping Yeah, especially if I continue to feel much better than I had in a long time, to try to put something out in writing. Um, and I'll just say, I encourage you to share this with people. Let people know that there's hope. God is real. It does work. Um, I would just say to anyone that you just don't know. Nothing is certain. And if you can feel the uncertainty, I mean, from the whack job nominees of Trump to the people on the other side of the whack jobs to wars and so forth, all this is promised in the scriptures. But what is also promised is God wouldn't leave or won't leave us or forsake us. If we suffer with God, like people who make off the wall comments, I don't care what people think about what I believe. I I've just been through too much to not believe more than I ever have because of things that have happened. I mean, imagine, I'll give you one more thing. Imagine one day I will have a P.O. box. I had one, but I will get it again. But when I tell you these people were poisoning me when I was in rehab, I should have died back in April of 22, or I should be severely impaired mentally. Uh, and none of that. I mean, it's none. I have nothing else to tell you, but this has to be real because it keeps happening to me, and I keep coming through what should have killed me many times over. At this point, I have to believe that God looks out for me and for others, and God is there for you. Call, just try. That's all I'm saying to people. There are a lot of phonies. You know, I talked to my cousin who used to work with TD Jakes, and we just talk about fake people in church, fake reverends. I can't stand them. They're not sincere. There's a lot of church abuse. I've been around pedophile preachers, people in the witchcraft, just every imaginable thing that would make you not take it seriously. Everything. And just so many reasons I can understand why people don't trust to believe, but that's what people do. You can't compare God to people. What someone human does wrong to you is not God's fault, nor can you hold God accountable for what people do. You have to know God for yourself. If I could do anything, I'm going to do it more because I used to only talk about black this, black that, history this. That's all wonderful and it's good, but you need to have your soul, your mind, your heart right. The murders, the rapes. I heard about an 80-year-old man shot in the head on the south side of Chicago on his way to the bank. These kinds of heartless things, this is due to the widespread demons and evil activity in our community. The only thing that can check it isn't more prison cells, it's not more cops, not more guns in the home, although that can deter, but for our people to turn away from evil and to righteousness through God. Okay, I've burnt up all my time. God bless and keep you. May his face shine upon you and give you peace. Be content and be ready. God could call any of us at any time. Um, and unforgiveness, if anything, I said about my friend that died last month, he couldn't forgive people. He couldn't forgive his father for something. I don't know what it was. And he's gone. Forgiveness helps. It fights cancer. I'm not saying let people walk over you or hurt you. I would never say that. But I will say, for your own well being, for your mind, for your peace, for contentment, for you to be able to be forgiven by God, forgive others, take care of your heart, soul, and mind. I love everybody until I get together again. I might even read some of this Devil in the Grove. This is too much. Okay. God bless you. I'm out for now. Bye bye.